The news hit like a physical weight. In an era where we are constantly bombarded by the passing of icons, the recent tragic loss of Rob Reiner feels different. It feels personal. For those of us who came of age in the 80s and 90s, Reiner wasn't just a name on a director's chair. He was the architect of our emotional lives. He was the man who validated our friendships, gave voice to our romantic neuroses, and reminded us that even in a world of Spinal Tap absurdity, there is room for profound human decency. His passing isn't just the loss of a filmmaker, it's the closing of a chapter on a specific kind of Hollywood. A Hollywood that believed a movie could be adult without being cynical and original without being incomprehensible. We live in a landscape of sequels and multiverses now, but Rob Reiner came from a time when a director's greatest tool wasn't a computer, but a deep, soulful understanding of the human heart. Today, we aren't just looking at a filmography. We are looking at a legacy of decency, a streak of creative genius that may never be replicated, and a man who gave us every reason to keep going to the movies. To understand why Rob Reiner's movies felt so lived in, you have to look at his bloodline. This wasn't a man who learned about life from a textbook. He learned it from the giants of American comedy. Imagine growing up with Carl Reiner as your father and Mel Brooks or Neil Simon as the guys dropping by for Sunday brunch. For the younger crowd, Rob Reiner might be that director, but for us, the generation that remembers the glow of the cathode ray tube, he will always be Michael Meathead Stivic from All in the Family. He was the long-haired, idealistic foil to Archie Bunker's volcanic conservatism. That role was a masterclass in character dynamics. It taught Reiner that conflict doesn't have to come from a villain. It comes from the friction between people who, deep down, actually love each other. When Reiner transitioned to directing, he didn't try to be an auteur in the Scorsese sense. He wasn't interested in flashy camera moves or gritty underworlds. He wanted to capture the spirit of the room. He brought the timing of a stand-up comic and the empathy of a theater actor to the director's chair. He understood that the greatest special effect in cinema isn't an explosion. It's a close-up of an actor's face when they realize they're in love or when they realize they're alone. In 1984, Reiner stepped behind the camera for a film that every single studio turned down. This Is Spinal Tap was a risk that shouldn't have worked. It was a parody of a heavy metal band that was so accurate, many actual rock stars at the time, from Steven Tyler to Ozzy Osbourne, didn't realize it was a joke. They thought it was a real documentary. As Marty DeBurgi, the filmmaker documenting the band's decline, Reiner introduced us to a world where the line between stupid and clever is razor thin. We all know the memes, the amp that goes to 11, the miniature Stonehenge. But look past the gags. Why does tap remain the gold standard of mockumentaries? It's because of the affection. Reiner never looked down on David St. Hubbins or Nigel Tufnell. He saw them as brothers. He understood the male ego, the ridiculous, self-serious, spandex-wearing vanity of it all, and he treated it with a gentle warmth. He didn't mock their passion, he mocked their density. It was a comedy that invited you into the joke, rather than making the characters the butt of it. It's a film that, like a good scotch, only gets better with age because it reminds us of the beautiful absurdity of our own dreams. What followed Spinal Tap was perhaps the most astonishing 6-year run in the history of the medium. If you look at the titles Reiner released during this period, it's almost overwhelming. First, Stand By Me. This is the definitive film about boyhood. It's the film that taught us that I never had any friends later on like the ones I had when I was 12. Jesus, does anyone? Reiner took a Stephen King novella and stripped away the horror to find the soul. He guided River Phoenix through a performance of such raw vulnerability that it still haunts us today. He captured the specific, tactile nostalgia of a summer that feels like it will never end, and the heartbreak of knowing that it eventually must. Then came The Princess Bride, a movie that, on paper, was unmarketable. Was it a kids' movie, a satire, a romance? Reiner didn't care about labels. He created a cinematic heirloom. By using the framing device of a grandfather reading to his grandson, Reiner was talking directly to us. He was saying that storytelling is the bridge between generations. He gave us Inigo Montoya, Miracle Max, and a vision of true love that wasn't saccharine, but heroic. And then he flipped the script again with Misery. He took Kathy Bates, a theater actress the world didn't know yet, and turned her into the face of our darkest nightmares. He showed us that he could handle tension and psychological horror just as well as he handled a punchline. He was a chameleon, but a chameleon with a heart. One of the recurring themes in Reiner's best work is the act of storytelling itself. In The Princess Bride, it's the grandfather drawing in a skeptical child. In Misery, it's the dark, twisted obsession of a fan who refuses to let the story end. Reiner understood the mystical communion between the creator and the viewer. He knew that when we sit in a dark theater, we are making a pact. We are giving him our time, and in exchange, he is giving us a way to navigate the difficulties and darkness of life. Think about A Few Good Men. "You can't handle the truth" isn't just a line Jack Nicholson shouted. It was a reflection on the moral compromises we make as a society. Reiner took a military courtroom drama and made it feel as urgent as a thriller. He herded the biggest stars in the world, Cruise, Moore, Nicholson, and made them serve the script. He was a performance-based director who knew that a well-written argument is more explosive than a car chase. He founded Castle Rock Entertainment because he wanted to preserve this kind of filmmaking. He wanted to make movies that were decent, principled, and humane. In the 90s, Castle Rock was a beacon of quality, producing everything from Seinfeld to The Shawshank Redemption. Reiner was the steward of a certain kind of integrity that feels increasingly rare in today's algorithm-driven industry. As we process the news of his passing, we have to ask, what did Rob Reiner leave behind? He left behind the idea that you can be successful without being cruel. He left behind a body of work that celebrates the underdog, the dreamer, and the friend who sticks by you when the tracks get long. He was a man who grew up in the shadow of giants and became a giant himself. Yet he never lost that shaggy-haired spirit of the 1984 rocker. He was a director who believed in the power of the adult movie. Not movies with grit for the sake of grit, but movies that respected our intelligence. Movies that assumed we had lived a little, loved a little, and lost a little. When we watch a Reiner film, we feel seen. We feel that someone understood the awkwardness of a first date at a diner, or the terror of realizing your #1 fan might be your worst enemy. Rob Reiner's death hits so hard because he was a constant. He was a reminder that Hollywood could still be a place of warmth and gentleness. He made us laugh, he made us weep, and he made us feel like we were in on the joke of being human. The grandfather in The Princess Bride tells his grandson that he'll come back the next day to read the story again. In a way, Rob Reiner did the same for us. Every time we pop in a DVD or find When Harry Met Sally on a streaming service on a rainy Tuesday, he's back. He's reading us the story again. He's reminding us that true love exists, that friendship is worth the walk, and that sometimes you really do have to turn the volume up to 11. He was a class act, a principled filmmaker, a devoted son of comedy, and to us, he was the man who made the world feel a little bit smaller, a little bit kinder, and a whole lot funnier. Rob, thank you for giving us a reason to go to the movies. We'll take it from here, but the theater is going to feel a lot emptier without you in the front row. What is the one Rob Reiner movie that stayed with you? Was it the time you first saw Stand By Me? Or the way Spinal Tap became the shorthand for your own group of friends? Let's talk about his legacy in the comments. We owe it to him to keep the conversation about good storytelling alive. If you appreciated this tribute, please hit the like button and subscribe. We do these deep dives because movies matter, and the people who make them matter even more. Rest in peace, Rob. We'll have what you're having.